All big changes start with a swift kick in the ass. Join the journey of John Curran as they make conventional thought bend over and take a boot to the keister. Warning, listeners may notice a force equal to or greater than needed to get your ass moving. A swift kick in the ass. Living life on your terms.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. And today I have a very special host, Carmen the Momba Gulliksen. She is a pro boxer, but she is so much more than that. So I'm going to go by this list because honestly, I can't keep up with everything that she's done. She is so much more than a boxer. She's a former collegiate Division I tennis player from Germany. She's also a scientist. I'm going to go a little bit more into that too, because I've known Carmen, or should I call you the Mamba?
No, Carmen's fine. Carmen's fine.
I've known Carmen for about 20 years now. In fact, we used to work together. So I know that Carmen holds an MBA and MSIS, which is Information Systems, I believe,
Yep.
as well as postgraduate diploma in health research. And she has merit in that research, and she's done a lot of different academic work dealing with psychiatric disabilities such as PTSD, ADHD. I also have some experience with that when I worked in the VA. So that's cool.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Okay.
Be cool to
Excellent.
talk about. She's technical. She's a nerd. She's a nerd that will
I'm a
kick your
moment.
ass. She's a nerd that could kick your ass, but she's a developer, computer geek. I mean, that's how I know her. She's a martial arts specialist. Over 30 years of martial arts training in multiple black belts across many different disciplines. She has an honorary term or name given, Shihan, which is a Japanese term, and it's commonly used in martial arts to denote a master instructor or model teacher. So she also holds multiple instructor certificates in karate, hapkido, taekwondo, law enforcement training. She was the 2025 RVA, which is Richmond area, Female Athlete of the Year, runner-up. She's an advocate. She's a teacher. In fact, she's a model teacher and professional boxer at age 47, proving that strength has no expiration date. Like I said, she will kick your ass. Not only in the ring, but outside of the ring. Academically, she's also a published author. I'd like to talk a little bit about her book because she uses scientific insight to advocate for evidence-based practices in combat sports, mental health, and longevity. She's the CEO and founder of the Martial Leaders Institute and Momba Promotions, LLC, where she channels this expertise into programming that empowers women, youth, and first responders through self-defense, mindset training, and community engagement. She's, as I said, German-born immigrant, so she spent 17 years navigating this U.S. citizenship process. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Full-time IT career, parenting 2 children, homeschooling, and rebuilding after loss. I mean, I can't think of a better person to talk about life on her terms. Homeschooling, mother of 3. Oh, mother of 3. Sorry, I guess I missed the child there. Wife to a disabled Army veteran, passionate mentor. So she continues to prove that fighting for your future at any age or circumstance is a cause worth dedicating your life to. So get ready to rumble. I wanted to say that so bad. Welcome to the show, Carmen Gulliksen. Carmen the Momba. I lost you, but I kept going with my introduction. So I don't
Okay.
think maybe no one will notice. I don't know. I'm going to try to cut out if
Okay.
there was any space in there, but
That,
that's
that
going
was that
into
was
my,
my fault. The ground switch got flipped. I didn't realize it, and I ran out of battery. I thought it was plugged in with a battery, and then all of a sudden it's all shutting down. I'm like,
it's so terrible when that happens and you just go into crisis mode. But you came back very quick and I had a long drawn out speech, but
good.
you missed it. I said, get ready to rumble. Here's
Oh no. Okay,
Carmen
I
the
gotta have to look
Momba.
at
I wanted to say
that.
that so bad ever since I saw it when I was a kid. Um,
Nice.
Carmen, welcome to A Swift Kick in the Ass. I am so happy to see you just prospering right now. I mean, you are a pro boxer. You have been for 2 years now, right?
Correct.
Uh, I am 58 years old, going on 59, and I also practice martial arts, but not professionally. It's really, really tough to get out there and keep training. I think you serve an example to all of us. Um, so tell us a little bit about what that's like. I mean, what got you into what what started you in, like what crossed your mind to say, I need to be a professional boxer?
Actually, I've been training for a long time, as you know, obviously. And then a couple of years ago, I had been working real hard and getting a couple of kickboxing matches and did a couple bouts, but really wanted to have a little bit more. And my kickboxing coach back then told me, you have no hands and your defense sucks. Go to a boxing gym. So, all right. So I went to a boxing gym over at Vintage here in Richmond, got a great welcome, start training, and really just got bit by the bug. The team was amazing, phenomenal. And as we were discussing of me maybe doing a couple of competitions, amateur bouts, we looked into it, and it was really kind of difficult to set up in the Virginia area with different amateur fights in the Masters division for women. In my weight class, there really was nothing, so we would
Hmm.
have been waiting for month and month and month at a time. And that is one thing I didn't want to have to do because I felt like I was running a little bit out of time, slightly.
Yeah,
So the idea was
I
tossed
can relate.
around, yeah, literally. And the idea was tossed around to just go pro. You have some background, you have some experience, and with the right management, we can make sure we build that up and find some good fights and see how far it takes you. And that's what we did.
That's so cool. So you are actively, I mean, you're actively fighting. In fact, you have a fight coming up here. I generally try to keep these kind of ageless, but in this part, is this point, I want to promote your fight and try to give you as much, you know, exposure
Mhm.
that I can. I know that in the Richmond area, they're really trying to build up like the boxing community. I've been to one of the bouts where you were going to fight, but
Yes.
your opponent um, bowed out at I guess she didn't clear medically.
Yes,
Uh,
she was medically disqualified. She didn't bow out, but she was medically disqualified. Her blood pressure went through the roof, and it would have been dangerous,
yeah,
hazardous for her to step in the ring. So it was the right call to make at the time. It was very upsetting
disappointing.
at the
Yeah,
time as well. Yeah, of course, I was ready to walk out. I already had my gloves on and everything. So it was literally a last minute thing. And it was all the adrenaline going and
yeah.
everything. That was a hard one. That was a tough one. So, but it worked out.
So what goes through your mind? I mean, I know you've been preparing for this all your life, I think, basically. I think it's led you here. So this is part of your lifestyle. But how do you prepare for a fight? And is there I kind of want to get in your head when you're in the ring, like I mean, I spar as well, but I mean, you take it to a professional level, and when you're out there, I mean, you're out there to win. Um, and you're a
Yeah.
fierce competitor. I've seen you fight before. So it's I don't know, I like to get more inside your head what you're thinking and
Well, that's kind of a tough one, and that is honestly a part of why I'm doing what I'm doing because I really want to explore my own mental state, mental limits, and drive that and grow that, right? And it develops over time. It's not a static thing. Uh, Getting into the ring first time was very different than getting in the ring last time I did.
Yeah.
Everything has challenges. Everything is different. The preparations are different. We have a core set of things that we always do to prepare for a fight. And many of them are the physical components. Okay, it's camp. You need to work your ass off and just train real hard. But then the strategic part comes into which a big part of that is obviously the coaches just understanding who I'm fighting. They research the fighter and they work on specific skill sets that they feel that I might need for the fight. And then the mental preparation as well, where I need to kind of embrace like, okay, what am I getting myself into? And for the most part, I go through stages for that. And that's to me always very interesting because one moment I'm really excited. The next moment I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
The next moment I get a little flustered asking like, okay, so what's the best way of working through this? And then the closer I get to the fight, there's about a 2-week period before the fight where all that kind of stops. And for me personally, I almost get into like a calm space. So when people ask me, "Are you excited?" I'm like,
You're
"No, I'm not
resolved,
excited.
maybe.
I'm in mission mode. It's like
Okay.
a mission
Yeah.
mode,
You've come to
right?"
terms with it. You're resolved and like,
Yeah, I need to just do what is my job. And no offense to my opponent, all respect to her, but she is merely an obstacle in my way.
yeah, I think
And
you
that's
have to
it.
if you're doing this professionally, it really comes down to win or lose. One person's going
Well,
to
it's more
win
than that in
and
boxing. It's not
yeah.
just winning or
Oh yeah,
losing.
I guess it's points, right?
Winning or losing was in tennis. When I was playing tennis, that was all about winning or losing. This
Okay.
is about going home to your family. Because you're getting in the ring, the
Mm.
number one objective is to be able to go back to your corner on your own feet
So it's
and then
surviving.
be able to go home to your family.
Okay.
Period. Because anything can happen. So losing can
Wow.
be more than just losing a match. Losing, I
You
mean,
could
you're
lose
putting yourself in harm's way. The person across from you, they don't always have good intents. Matter of fact, you walk in there to an extent, you have to have bad intentions to win the match,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, what started this? I mean, I love where this is going. But so you go in there with an objective,
Yes.
and that other person is standing in your way of that
Yeah.
objective. You have to do whatever you have to do to take them out. And I know from my experience in martial arts, I mean, some of the people that I spar against are bigger than me.
Hmm.
Some and I've seen some of the female fighters, and same with the men. Some of them are beasts.
Yeah.
I mean, I,
100%.
it's so there is a absolute mental component uh in dealing that, and as age too. Now, is age considered in your matches, or are you fighting people that are close to your age? Because
Nope.
okay,
Age is in the pros is not a category.
okay, that's what I was thinking.
Once you're an adult, once you're a pro, there is really no age category. Now some states, and we have had to struggle with that quite a bit. There's a bunch of red tape. Some states have strict rules about once you get to a certain age, they don't want you to fight because they feel you're too high of a liability, too high of a risk.
Right.
And you have additional requirements doing a bunch of extra medical tests you need to go through and such things. Like for my last fight, I had to do a bunch of like tests for cardiovascular system, blood tests, and other things that went way above and beyond what, let's say, a 30-year-old fighter would do. And then you still might not get approved. In some states, they say 40, at 40 years, you're out, more or less, right? So that is something to be considered. But my opponents, a lot of times, have been less than half my age. My last opponent was 19 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was one of those beasts. I've got to give her kudos. She was a tough one. She was a tough one.
Some of the 7-year-olds I fight, they're beasts.
I have a 10-year-old who gives me run for my money. He's my ticket to heaven. I tell you that. So I feel you on that.
I'm just kidding. My son is 14 and he's going to be a third degree
Okay.
black belt in Taekwondo, but we study mixed martial arts, so
Okay.
it's not strict Taekwondo. Taekwondo. I always say Taekwondo, but also jujitsu, Muay Thai,
Nice.
boxing, basic just dirty fighting. Just, I mean, like you said, you're out there to win, but let's get back to the surviving piece
Yeah.
of it. That's part of your objective.
That was a huge objective for me to get into martial arts in the first place. When I was younger, I got into a lot of situations where I felt like I couldn't get myself properly out of it, and I had little situations here and there, and I always felt like I wanted to do something to protect myself. And these days, like you said, I'm well studied. I have all these things that I've done. I've worked real hard. I don't want to have some person come along and just think for 5 minutes of fun they're gonna do a number on me, and I lose all that because I can defend myself.
Right.
I'm the one who's going to go home to my family. I don't want to be the one who gets hit over the head because I don't know how to pay attention, or I don't know how to address certain things out there, and lose it all within a split, right?
Yeah.
So for me,
See,
that's really, really important.
I think a lot of people honestly can relate to that. I know I can relate to that. That's one of the reasons why I got my son involved I
Yep.
think I got him involved at age 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then when he became a black belt, he wanted to continue on. And I thought, I've been sitting here watching him and it looks like so much fun. I grew up watching Bruce Lee and, all the martial arts during the 70s, but I never imagined in my life that I could do anything like that. But so I automatically took myself out just through my thought that I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I decided, well, I'm going to do it. And they didn't think I could. I mean, they really did not think I would make it to black belt, but now I'm going on my
That's
second
awesome.
degree.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so it is absolutely life-changing. But you wrote a book
Yes.
about this, and what I thought was really interesting is I'm gonna make sure I don't butcher the title of it. So, and I will also put a link in
Okay.
the notes for people, because where is my notes? Would help if I had my glasses on too. But it's about living in the post-election world.
Yes.
And yeah, and let's just face it. I mean, and this is not a partisan comment or anything like that. I think everyone can agree the world is a much more dangerous place these days, and people don't feel safe.
Correct.
But you made a choice and said, I don't accept that. I don't want to not feel safe. I want to do what I can to protect myself. And you've really
Correct.
dedicated your life to that and wrote a book that will help others do that. And on top of that, you're creating this Momba hub, which is a brick and mortar approach to this, to actually create, and you talk more about this, but you're looking to create a center, right? To bring
Mhm.
people together to help teach them self-defense,
Correct.
empowerment, really. I mean, I think you're really focusing on women and girls, right?
Well, primarily women, but also women and girls, but also any kind of minorities that, or really any people who feel like they need a little bit of work on that empowerment. Because honestly, it's not just women. In this day and age, a lot of men feel like they're under attack. A lot of men feel like they cannot um, really be themselves and embrace that, and they need a little bit
Yeah.
of guidance on that as well, or help or support or a network for it simply. I've worked with diversity enrichment as well, with the trans community as well. So
Mm.
so there are a lot of different
Yeah.
venues and avenues. There are a lot of different organizations that are fantastic, trying to address these issues. But one of the things that we've also noticed is a lot of them are kind of dispersed and a little bit all over, and they don't really have a hub or a local point where they can bring people together. Because a lot of, let's say, for instance, women, or like a woman might fall into a lot of different categories. You know, she might deal with an abusive relationship, she might deal with a divorce, she might deal with a variety of different things with a child that has learning disabilities or other things, right? So life is not that simple. So it can get very complex very fast. And having to figure out all these different things all over the place can be very daunting. And the hub is supposed to also provide a point where these organizations can come together and possibly leverage their community a little bit better. And writing the book was just kind of a starting point. I had a lot of notes and materials from my years and years of martial arts, especially some of the self-defense martial arts that I've studied, like Carmen, ASKITA, and Aikido, and some others. And I had this framework. And then when the elections happened, I noticed that a lot of women around me really started almost panicking and really getting very upset. And it's not about our political views, whether I agree with them or not. That is not even relevant. What's relevant is that they felt lost and that they felt threatened and upset and didn't really know how to get help or where to go. And I was like, I have all this material. Let me put something out, and it might just help a handful of people, maybe even. And it's not pretty. I didn't put pretty pictures in it or anything. It's literally just, here it is. Let me get it out quick, because it's a time issue now too. And I put it out, and actually it got sold a lot more than I expected, but which is great.
Yeah,
but again, it's just like a manual to get you started. For example, when you select a martial arts school, a lot of people don't know what to look for, right? You don't have experience with that.
It's very true.
Yeah, so one of the things in there is a manual kind of, all right, so if this is what you're looking for, self-defense, and you're looking at these different schools, what are some of the things that the school should offer if these are the things that you want to meet, right? Do they do chokes, headlocks? Do they talk about safety? Do they work on the mental part? All those types of things. So they're just tools for anyone to really take, but specifically women, but anyone to take and just set up their environment a little safer.
Yeah, that's so true. That's such a great point to make, is that, things are scary, especially when you don't know about something. Like, I didn't know really about martial arts. I knew a little bit about it because my friend, the actual former co-host of this show, Tommy, he was the one who really was into it. He took many different he trained in many different disciplines throughout the years. And so that's part of the reason too why I do this, is for my friend Tommy. But I didn't know, like a lot of people, I think when they hear black belt, they think, oh, you're an expert, you know everything. But that's not the truth. You're actually, as a martial artist, when you become black belt, you actually become a white belt kind of all over again. You realize that you don't know everything. You know the basics. And that's what the black belt is that you've mastered kind of the basics, but how you apply that, how you make it your own, that takes years and years of training and development. And like you said, I think you go on a path. There are different disciplines of martial arts. There's different techniques of fighting. Boxing is good in some ways, but it's limited in other ways. There's mixed martial arts. There's all different types. Like judo, I did judo as a kid. But it's tough. There's no way I'm doing that now.
Because I actually started with judo. Did you know that?
I did not know that. But
yeah, that was my very first martial art. That was the only one that they had in Germany at the time when I was like 13, 14. That was the only thing they had. They had no striking arts, but they had judo. Germany was huge in judo. If you just look at the Olympics, they did real well in the judo category, right? So that was big in Germany. But that's how I started. I did that for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Just, you're throwing people around. And I mean,
And all the guys were a lot bigger than me. I remember there was this one guy, he was huge. At least he looked like it to me. I was, like I said, 13, 14, and he looked like he could have been like a 225, 250 pounder. And I was like, okay. He's like,
but
throw
you
me. I'm like,
learn,
okay.
like, that's what I love about martial arts is it teaches you things that you can apply in life,
Yes.
especially as far as confronting challenges and
Hmm.
like confronting these beasts. You think
Yeah.
there's no, I'm going to be destroyed. Yeah, if you think that you're
Yeah.
going to be destroyed, chances are you're going to be destroyed. If
Yeah.
you change your
Absolutely.
mindset and start looking for a solution out of it, you you're still going to get you still may get injured, but you're going to be able to protect yourself and hopefully learn from that experience to live another day and fight another
Well,
day. You know,
well, here's the, sorry, go ahead.
I've overcome like my my training partner is a lot bigger than me. He outweighs me, I don't know by how many, 50, 60 pounds. So trying to drop him or, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be flattened
Ouch.
like a pancake, but I've learned how to do it properly. And
Mhm.
I've overcome a lot of that fear,
Yeah.
but
I
so it
mean,
takes time.
fear, the mindset, all that is like a muscle too, right? You can practice it, you can train it and toughen it up again stronger and getting it sharper as you go along, right? You practice something, even if it's just mentally over and over again, you get better at it, right?
Right.
But here's an interesting little facet too. Have you ever heard of Lieutenant Colonel Grossman and the book on combat?
I don't know.
He
No, and
he
uh,
he
for the
has written a
audience
couple
too, mention
books.
that because I don't know. Tell me more
So
about this.
his book is a little older. He's written a couple books. My favorite one of his books is called On Combat. And it goes into a really good breakdown of what are the physical and psychological responses that someone goes through when they are in a person to person combative situation.
Hmm.
And one of the things, he says uh, that is heavily supported by studies, including the Big Star study that analyzes PTSD in the Army. It's the largest longitudinal study for the Army with regards to suicidal ideations, PTSD, and such. They all say if you have training of some sort that mentally prepared you for an incident of interpersonal conflict, combat, however you want to describe it, and you still get damaged, after the fact, because of the training you had and the mental preparedness that you had, the chance of fully mentally and psychologically recovering is substantially higher.
Hmm.
If you have not had training, the incidence of PTSD, significant serious trauma, suicidal ideation, and incidents goes up tremendously. So you might have not gotten killed in the situation, but your life might take a really
Oh
dark
yeah,
turn afterwards.
yes.
And that is part that you can mediate substantially by simply training, preparing, and kind of confronting that fear along the way a little bit, even at a low level. Doesn't mean you have to get in a ring
Yeah.
like I do. Just by simply the training you do right there, getting your black belt and doing some martial arts training in some form or another, if you ever get in a situation, you'll be much better off coming out
Oh
of it.
yeah. Yeah, no, you get me thinking about a couple of different things. Um, One thing I think in the Army, they do a lot of training like that. And I think exposing people to what it may be like to go through, like I know that Tommy had told me about going through like a rape situation or, and I'm thinking, holy crap, that'd be horrible to go through, or like drown situation, drowning, they throw you into the pool. And I mean, like you said, it's what you learn and take away
Yeah.
from that. But what I also am taking away from this conversation too is this is life and death. What we're
Mhm.
really talking about here. And I tend to forget about that when I'm training because I'm doing it a couple times a week, and I'm with my friends, my buddies, and we're all messing around. I'm there with my son, so I'm spending quality time with my son. So it's a
Mhm.
family thing as well, a
Yeah.
bonding time. But but really why I'm doing it is for self-defense, to be able to protect ourselves. And it can be life or death because you don't ever know who you're up against.
You never know.
Um, I took some knife training
Mhm.
with Doug actually. And
Oh, really? Okay.
and they give you a fake knife, but
Yep.
it's a real knife. It's just dull. It's not sharpened.
Mhm.
So it could really hurt you, like it'd be like stabbing someone with a butter knife. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not going to kill you, but it's going to hurt like hell. Um, but as you're going through these learning the movements, you're thinking, holy crap, I better like wear my sunglasses or something because blood's going to be splattering. I mean, you realize what you're doing. And I think if you're human, you maybe even get sick to your stomach a little bit about it because you're just ripping another human to, entrails are falling out. you know,
Oh, maybe not quite like that, but it
No,
could.
I
I
mean,
mean,
but no, I
you
mean
never
when you're
know.
training for the knife, when you're training for the knife,
Mhm.
and you're doing that, I mean, you are slashing, and one of the shots is right across the
Yeah.
gut, and they're coming out, and you're thinking, oh yeah, and you do not want to go into a knife fight because someone's going to be cut,
No,
someone could
knife
be
fights
killed.
scare the
Yeah.
bejesus out of me. They always say chance of getting cut in a knife fight is 100%.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
But
you need to be really aware of that mentally that, and that's another thing that training helps, that if you do get injured, if you get cut on the arm, uh, pending that you didn't get cut in major
yeah,
aorta or something like that, but it probably is not going to kill you right away. So you need to just work through it somehow. You also need to remember if you ever fight someone and you damage them, well, for them it might not be over either. Just because you stabbed them doesn't mean they're not still coming, right?
right,
But one of the things that I noticed, and I totally understand that too, while these things are all valid, women in particular, but even men, but women in particular, they shirk away a lot from even punching or doing any of those things. We have that a lot, that women, it's like, I don't want to throw a punch, I don't want to do anything. And women, to the point of sacrificing themselves, are so frozen up into not
mm,
wanting to throw the punch, fight back, or do damage, that that is something that we always kind of work through when I work with women. It's not that you have to go ahead and find joy in gouging someone's eyeballs out. I'm not even saying that, right? But find that one thing that can motivate you to do a little bit more damage if you really have to do it.
yeah,
And the biggest thing for women in particular, especially if they have children, that I notice is like, do you want to go home to your child? Look at your child, envision your child, and man, that fires women up.
yeah.
When they
No, I should.
realize
Yeah,
that if they don't fight back, it's not just about them. If they don't fight back, they might not go home to their children, or their child might actually get into harm's way because the child is maybe on the other side of the car, right? Or sitting in the car while they're trying to get in the car and they're
yeah.
being held up by someone. And that's a whole different story. And that gives them a fire that can actually help them protect
That's Mama
themselves.
Bear.
That's totally mama bear, 100%. 100%. But sometimes that's what it takes. And that's totally okay because women do want to, most women do want to have both. And it's perfectly fine. They can have both. They can be gentle, loving, and caring, and sweet, and nurturing. And they should be,
Right.
right? But they can also bring out that beast that's meant to be the mama bear
Yeah.
and protect
And
and do that part as well.
and the same is true for men
Yes.
too, that you could train martial arts hard and you could
Mhm.
train to be a fighter, but you can also be soft. You can also be kind.
Well,
You know,
actually,
you could be
training
a
martial arts, studies have shown, actually allows you to be that. When you don't train and when you feel weak and when you feel like you are unsure about yourself, or when you don't have that confidence that martial arts helps you to build up,
yeah,
you're much more inclined to not be kind. you don't have as much of a luxury to defer and maybe just try to control the situation. You're a lot more likely to lash out and be aggressive and try to stand the ground. When you've trained, you have the confidence, number one,
Yeah,
you
you know
probably
what
don't
you're
want to
going
get
to
in a
do.
fight.
Right.
And number two, when you do get in a situation, you're much more able and capable and confident that you can control the situation and do something else. So you can step back a little bit and have that calmness and confidence. So you're less inclined to actually get into a fight in the first place. We always joke about it. You train martial arts so you don't have to fight. And there's a huge point about it that's absolutely true.
That's also kept me in it because at my age, what really appeals to me is that what I'm learning, you do not need to be strong for. It's not does not rely on strength. And I'm learning small little tweaks in your movement or how your foot placement, all these little things you can do really add up to be quite a lot. So as you get older, we all naturally lose our strength. There's really not a lot we can do about it. I think a lot of people are better at it these days,
Mm-hmm.
through nutrition, through exercise, looking out after themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that, because
Yeah.
my son is 14 and I'm paying all this money investing in his martial arts skill and he's going to be able to kick my ass.
Well, my son,
But it's
who
fine.
you've met,
Yeah.
he's been training with me since he was 6 years old, on and off. And one of the big motivations I always was talking about when he was a little younger was I have to stay ahead of him. He's now 6'5". He's a tall kid. He's huge. And when he was 17, he told me, Mom, I added something to my bucket list. I'm like, what's that, son? He's like, I'm going to knock you out before I'm 18. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my God. It's exactly what you want to hear.
exactly. I'm like, great. Okay. So that's why I train real hard. But to your point, as you get older, you do get a little bit more in touch with how to take care of yourself and how you need to recover and eat and all that. But for that exactly, some people do struggle with that. For that exactly, it's really helpful to have good people around you, have a network, have a community, like the
Yes.
people in your martial arts school teaching you, if that doesn't work for you because you have a bad knee, try this, try
Yeah.
that, right? But it's so important that as we get older in particular, that we become very good at adjusting and adapting. I give you an example. My first fight that I went to Colombia, like South America, for, about 2 weeks before my fight, I almost broke my knee. I had an accident training
Yeah.
and I slipped and I collapsed to the inside. The doctor said if I hadn't been as strong in my legs as I was, I would have probably torn and broken everything in my knee. But now I had a damaged meniscus and a damaged MCL, but I was probably about 10, 12 days out from a fight. So I'm like, okay, now what? So we took about a week off to completely just rest. And then I went back into my gym and my coaches all got together and they looked at me, evaluated, had me move around, had me spar a little bit, see where I was. And then we made tweaks. I was like, okay, you can't do this movement. Make sure we're covering that, do the other movement.
Hmm.
Cover this up, do this, do that. And then after the fight, I made it through the fight. I won the fight. And then after the fight, we went back to the drawing board of making sure that we go through rehab and strengthening and everything. And now
Yeah.
everything is fantastic. I recovered so much faster than I probably would have in my 20s without that help and without that network. But you have to learn how to compensate. Who's not to say that if you get in a situation that you don't dislocate your shoulder or trip and fall and sprain your ankle. Matter of fact, most people actually, it increases your risk of getting attacked or picked out by an attacker if you have a physical ailment. If you have a limp or something like that,
Oh,
the
that
attacker
makes
is going to
sense
look at
because
you and they're
you're
like,
viewed
oh,
as
there's a
it's a
weakness.
weakness. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're wounded prey,
No, that
So they're going to go after you more likely. So you need to know how to manage yourself through that. And I think I always felt martial arts has always been a means for me to really understand my body and understand myself. There's so many times where I had a broken wrist. Well, okay, I'm not going to throw anything with my left hand. 6 weeks of right side only, you know, and get
Yeah.
really good at it.
So as a martial artist, you learn to adapt, as you said,
Mhm.
but and you learn to roll with the punches really because
Literally,
you're not always going to be feeling good.
no.
Sometimes
Most of
you,
the time, I don't think I've ever had a single fight where I was 100%.
yeah,
Never.
and what I see every time I train are people come in, maybe they're hurt or injured.
Hmm.
They're still coming in. Maybe they don't feel good.
Yeah.
But, they're still coming in because you never know when that fight is coming your way and
Hmm.
you need to prepare.
Yeah.
So it does teach you. Another part too is that, and I'm sure a lot of listeners will relate to this. Oh, I moved the wrong way and I sprained my back or my leg or whatever it is, muscle you didn't think you had. Well,
I didn't fluff my pillow the other day the right way, and I had a stiff neck.
yeah, that's exactly.
True story. Coach was like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "My neck hurts." Like, what happened? I didn't fluff my pillow.
Yeah, so I mean, so it happens to all of us, and
Hmm.
even if you're in good shape, it could still happen. But
Yeah.
if you're in good shape, you'll recover faster
Yes.
from that. So things happen,
Yeah.
uh, regardless, regardless. But when you are out of shape, you are exposing those weaknesses to others, which people
Yep.
can take advantage of.
Yep.
You're also health wise, I think just as you work through your white belt and work through the color belts, what surprised me is I didn't injure myself like from pulling a muscle or anything like that. I I I injured myself from kicking things the wrong way and almost breaking my foot or having my toes caught in between um, someone else's elbow and knee.
Yeah. Those are fun times.
Yeah,
I remember
so
those.
it was I'm still, but I still wear that injury, and that's from like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I'll always wear it, but I wear it with pride, and that's just
Yeah.
all part of it,
Yeah.
But I'm in the best shape probably of my life, considering my age. When I was 28 and I was working out 6 times a week, I
Hmm.
was like a bull. I actually got up to 205, and I'm over 6 feet tall. So I was over 205, just all muscle to my waist. And then I didn't work my legs. So they were like sticks, you know, and that hurt me
Yeah.
because I developed actually it was right around the time when we were working together that I started experiencing lower back pain.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember those exercise balls in the
Oh,
cube,
God.
like in the cubes. You, if you have a
I
desk
remember them
job.
very well. I was trying to sit down on one and bouncing on one, and then a certain someone actually came along and kicked it out from under me, and I dragged down the entire cube set up right next to me. It's like, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
oh my gosh. But you
Good
get
times.
those exercise balls and sit on that and then you'd be bouncing. But
Oh,
it's just so crazy. But I really had to I experienced 3 herniated discs.
oof.
I slipped in a parking lot. It had just rained. So there was a light rain
Hmm.
and I slipped in the parking lot walking into the grocery store.
They're working in
Um,
break falls, man.
but well, this is before karate. But I caught myself. So I didn't actually hit the pavement, but
Hmm.
I caught myself just with one leg and it just went and three
Ooh.
herniated discs, sciatic pain like I've never experienced before. Like as soon as
Mm.
your foot touches the carpet, as soon as you feel the fibers of the carpet touch your foot, shooting pain all the way up the side of your leg, all the way up.
Mm.
Horrific. But I went and had a epidural injections of like a cocktail
Ooh.
with anti-inflammatory, a
Uh-huh.
steroid, and something else. And I remember the doctor saying, "Okay, we're done, but you'll be back." I was like, "What do you mean I'll be back?" Like, well, most people, they don't do what you have to do to fix this. So I'll see you. I was like,
Nice.
"Hell, you will." So I used, again, people tell you that you can't do something, and I turned that into something.
Yeah, hope might be all right.
Yeah,
That's the funny thing. And I think that's part of my personality too. My mom used to tell me the story when I was 6. She was very concerned about me and went to my grandfather, her father, and it's like, I don't know about Carmen. I'm just so worried about her. And he looked straight at her and was like, Marlene, you don't have to worry about her. She is so stubborn. She'll be just fine. She'll figure it out.
you know what? That's so funny. I
And,
have
and
a s-
that actually carried me through every now and then when I had my lows. And you've met me when you met me a little over 20 years ago. I was going through a really, really tough
yeah.
spot in my life. I was going through a divorce, having the tiny, tiny little human. And knowing that in the back of my mind really helped me get through some stuff. It's like, I can just be so stubborn, I'll be just fine. And sometimes that's all it takes. And especially, I know this, a lot of women struggle with that sometimes. They have so much going on. They grind through life every day, and it's so overwhelming, but they're just expected to hang in there. And they don't realize that they're just getting like worn out and worn down, and they kind of toughen up. But then they get really
Well, they
kind of,
harden up, maybe.
yeah, they really get the side of themselves where all of a
Yeah.
sudden people around them tell them, you're not feminine enough anymore, or
Or they
why are you
don't,
acting so tough?
or people distance themselves from
Right.
from them
Or why are
because they
you
just don't
letting
want to be
yourself
around
go?
them. Yeah.
Right. But it's
Yeah.
a catch 22 because they're in survival mode and they have to do that. They have to kind of push through that. And one of the things that I really learned through the martial arts and through life and going through some stuff is exactly what we just said too, is that you have to take things in your own hands a little bit, but you have to also have the right people around you. You
Yeah.
have to have the
It takes a
tools
team.
around. Yes, it does. And you also have to put yourself around people who don't constantly tell you you are weak, because there's so much in our society, I think, where women kept being told that they're weaker than men. And to an extent,
Absolutely.
physically, yes, you can physically measure. A man can bench press a lot more than a woman. Great. But women have other strengths. They're very resilient over time. They're really resilient of
Thank God.
getting pressure and stress is put on them. But also they have their limits, right? And that's when those things come in. But society doesn't always do them a favor. I tell you one little thing. So, okay, this is gonna be controversial. I might get a little bit in a hot
Good.
spot for that,
I like
but
it. This is a
let's do
swift
it
kick in the
anyways,
ass. Be
right?
as
But
controversial as you want.
awesome. So, this thing where in women pro boxing, women only fight 2-minute rounds, right? Men fight
Hmm.
3-minute rounds. Women also only fight 10 rounds. Men fight 12 rounds. It used to be 15, now it's 12. The argument for that is that women can't take as much head trauma.
Mm.
They're considered a little weaker, and the commissions don't want them to get damaged as much, right? Now, here's an interesting fact, though. Since I'm a researcher, I like to look at stuff, and I would love to do an actual research study on it. I would love to find an institution who would, allow me to align with them as a researcher on that. But if you look at the pro fights and the averages of pro fights, because women only have 2 minutes, it's almost like,
It's more intense.
well, we only have 2 minutes. Men have an extra 50% of the time. They can chill a little bit, take the time, set things up. Women go out there, it's a sprint. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's a sprint. Your cardiovascular, it's high intensity, everything. And if you look at the statistics, women pro fights per 2-minute round, on average, throw between 50 and 70 punches per person. Men pro fights in a 3-minute round throw an average of 50 punches.
Yeah. So much more
So women
slower,
throw
much
a
more
lot more
strategic. Yeah.
punches in a shorter time period. If
Less
you have
intense.
people, yeah, if you have people like Serrano, and then fight. She threw an average of 70 punches every single round for 10 rounds. That's
Yeah.
700 punches. If you take a man average 50 punches, they throw 600 punches in a whole match. So, but again, this argument, women are weaker.
You know,
But because
yeah,
of that, now they're setting women up to fail. Really, if you think about it, you tell them they're weaker, and now we're changing the rules for the women. And really, if you look at it, well, you actually put me at a disadvantage here. You're actually making it harder for me because you're telling me I'm weaker, right? So
yeah,
it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, so what are we doing? Right. So
yeah,
it's really important to look at those things kind of critically and be aware of them, and make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who believe in you and say it's like, you're not weak. Stand up for yourself. You can do this. And that makes a
yeah.
huge difference.
You know, it's interesting. I think becoming a parent, when you have that little human in your life takes on much more meaning, I think. I
Mhm.
see this, and this is not a judgment. Talk about controversial. Gosh, that would be terrible. Not placing judgment on anyone who chooses not to have children or for some reason can't have children for
Sure, of
whatever,
course.
for whatever reason. People, not all people are meant to have children. And
No.
not all people are meant to be married or be coupled or thrupled or, whatever it is that floats your boat. This is not a judgment call. Um, but when you don't have children, you have a different perspective on life. I have a friend who just recently lost his mother, had very close relationship with his mom because his parents divorced at a very young age. So he kind of was the man of the family. And he's going through a rough time, but he's doesn't have any children. He's not married, and he's finding like a lot. He's finding he doesn't have purpose, doesn't see a purpose. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think a lot of people feel that way. And even some people with children maybe
Yeah.
feel, but I think it's probably less people with children find that they don't have purpose. Because I'll tell you, my my kids keep me going.
Well, that's a definite. And then people that have children, one of the things, once the children are out of the house, they're empty nesters, and they often struggle with that as well, and they have to
Yeah, and
find
that's true.
another
That's
way
when divorces
to
take place, right? After they get out of the house and
yeah.
raised and they have to spend time together,
Well,
the
even
couple.
with even just with employment, you see actual statistics show that once people retire, go into retirement, unless they have something else that they focus on, let's say they're doing voluntary
Yeah,
work
a
or
lot
doing
of
other
people
things,
will commit
a lot of
suicide,
people actually
actually.
age very suddenly, very quickly, and pass away a lot earlier just because they don't have a
Well,
purpose anymore.
there's a
So
there's a book, I forget the name of the author, but it's called You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. And
mhm.
it was written by a financial consultant who would survey his clients, and he did this over 10 years. But one of the questions he asked was regarding happiness after working in retirement. And what he did, and this is like tens and or hundreds of thousands of clients that he worked with. I guess tens of thousands. But he said that a lot of people, if they just spent all their life working, they could have tons of money and, have a huge 401k step aside. But as soon as as soon as they retired, the next day they go off and kill themselves
Yeah,
because they don't know what to do with their lives. He said
yeah,
that people who are most happy have a life outside of work so that when work ends, their life really starts to begin and really starts, they, they feel
yeah.
free. Um,
Either that or the very best option is the best job is the one you never want to retire from.
that's true. That's
You know,
actually what I want to do with this.
if you want build if you can build your own thing, and that's what I want to do with Mamba Promotions as well, with the Mamba
Yeah.
Hub, is have that. So it's this is going to be my life mission. I don't want to retire from that because I feel no matter what age I will be able to build that and hand something forwards to other women and talk about the experience.
Yeah.
Right.
People talk about leveraging your resources.
Mhm.
And I'm a firm believer in that no matter your life's path, you develop resources, you develop knowledge, you
Yep.
develop connections to different people. And we often don't think much of it. We think, oh, that's just normal. Well, it's normal for you, but it's not necessarily normal for somebody else.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we can all learn from each other.
Yep.
And that's what I love, really, this show. I've been doing it for over 10 years now, but I really just started doing interviews because I don't know, I didn't feel like I was very good at it maybe, or I was kind of in denial, but what I'm finding is I love it. And just I want to continue on. I actually want to continue this on and be able to, you know, give up my full-time job, do
Yeah.
this, do this full time. And like you said, I don't want to ever retire. Just want to live my
But
life.
But see, one of the big things that you just said that I find really interesting, and I know a lot of people struggle with, and I even struggle with that too, is they feel like they have to be good at something to do something. No, you become good at something because you do it.
Oh yeah.
It's just a matter of being really, really, really goddamn uncomfortable for a while. And that's, I think, one of the things that martial arts teaches you, because you're going to be so uncomfortable if you actually just do the martial arts thing like the traditional way, and throw yourself full time into it. There are going to be these waves of being
Oh yeah.
uncomfortable. But again, with the right community and everything around it, you'd be amazed how much you can work through it and then come out feeling so much stronger, because again, that is a mental state, and every mental state can be trained. It's like a muscle again,
Yeah.
right? So you're
And
dealing with discomfort, your brain, the neurological system has actually been shown to grow stronger because you pushed against adversity, overcame it in a safe space in particular, even, and you're growing from it. And next time something else happens, you're like, oh, that was
it'll be
easy.
easier. Yeah,
And
that's
guess who
exactly what I
benefits
was going
from
to
it?
say.
And guess who benefits from it? It's not just a person putting themselves through it. If I work with a woman and she's starting to grow stronger and a little bit more confident about something, it's her whole family that benefits from it. So we
People
almost
on the
have a
street
duty
that
to
she
do
comes
it.
across, anyone that comes crosses paths
Yes.
with her will be
Yes.
impacted by that.
Yeah, and they don't even have to go through the fire. Like, yeah, here's the thing: people are like, "Okay, are you gonna teach us how to box?" And I'm like, "Not really. I mean, if you want to have some boxing sessions, we can set it up. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. But that's not really the point here. We're not going to take a bunch of ladies and throw them in the ring and have them duke it out. Well, sounds like fun, but no,
With
that's not what we're
pillows?
about.
I'm sorry.
Hmm. There's
I'm sorry. I
actually,
just get it's
let's
getting
have
a
a pillow
little
fight.
yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like, sorry,
But the
that's what the
other ways,
stereotypical guy says.
yeah, there you go. The other ways, the tools, I mean, it will prepare you for your kids, I suppose. But
Yeah.
the other tools, because I went through a fire, the tools that I can draw out of to give them a little bit of that excitement, a little bit of that feel without having them go through the same trial and error and fire that I had to go through. So depending on where they're at in their life, they don't have to go to the extreme of risking great injuries or risking all these things, but they still get benefits from it, if that makes sense, right?
No, 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 I totally agree. Like we said, going back to the training is some of these experiences that people train for are horrible experiences.
Yeah.
Um, but if you think of it like a crisis response um, activities, like there's
Mhm.
planning involved, there's actual thinking about a situation, what would go into that, what would happen, all the different possibilities are explored and they're documented. It's okay, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And just the process of going through that thought process, going through it.
Yep.
I'm a risk manager by background. So like that's how I'm programmed. Like
Yeah.
you have to take risks in life. Like
Yes.
there's risk in everything that we do, but you don't have to be dumb about it. You can take calculated risks and hedge your bets,
Yes.
and make decisions that will lean in the direction that you want to go and
Yeah.
push those barriers, you know, I love it when people tell me that I can't do something because I'm going to show you that I can.
Yep.
Um, I think this show is a great example, honestly, of it, in teaching people persistence. Um, this is not about, this has not been about money. This is about for me, it's about creating a lifestyle and
Yeah.
also learning um, about myself and learning about the different options that I might not know about. I talk to others. I always learn something. I love that. So I want to keep doing that. And I know that you want to do that. I know we probably have to start wrapping this up because we're out of time, but um, the Mamba Hub,
Yes.
I know that's really important. You're getting that
Mhm.
started. What can we leave the audience with? I'm gonna put links and everything in the notes. You also have a website that you can go to. We'll put that out there. CarmenTheMamba.com.
Yes. Yep.
Um, you know, you can get your merch there. She's
Yes.
on Instagram. She's on Facebook. She's she's everywhere that you need to be. And got a fight coming up.
I do. We just actually got the contract this morning.
Okay.
So that will be announced probably very soon. That might be a very big one. So if everything goes through, fingers crossed, that will be a big step. So pretty excited about that. But just give it a little bit until everything is signed. So, but follow me on Instagram, just carmen.the.mom.com on Instagram, and everything will be listed there. So the Mama Hub, obviously, you can access from there as well. The hub itself is going to be our physical implementation of what we're doing with the network, right? So in the meantime, we are out and about. We actually do field trips, so to speak, and we meet people in their community, at their gym, at their organization. So
Hmm.
if they want to get that kind of energy that we have, they can bring us in, and then we come to you and work with the women in the various capacity, because some groups want us to do more of the high energy workout kind of oriented, others want to be more self-defense. And
Mm-hmm.
then we also do seminars. We have a summit coming up in October. Right now, it's probably going to be October 4th. We're still trying to lock down the venue, but that is going to be a summit specifically for women about resilience. And this next fight that I'm having, I'm going to commit that to women and resilience as well.
Awesome.
So all that will be coming together. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be here in Richmond. It's going to be fairly large. So definitely stay tuned for that as well.
You know, I can't tell you, I just love it. I have a long line of very strong independent women in my family. In fact, going back to like the 1850s,
Mm-hmm.
one of my grandmothers, she lost her husband. He
Oh.
was, I think he was murdered. As far I Right now I think he was murdered. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But what I do know as a fact is that she took the kids from Racine, Wisconsin in the 1850 and took wagon train out to Minnesota, which was frontier land, claimed acres of land, built a farm, expanded it. But she was a single parent with kids
Mhm.
and totally moved out into the wilderness. Um, my
Wow.
gra- my grandmother, uh, her husband died at a very young age when my mom was 13. So she was an operator for the phone company and had a nighttime job in Chicago. Um, when she was coming home, there was a purse snatcher in the area. She lived on the south side of
Oh.
Chicago. She lived in the city. She born and raised in the city. So she's walking home from work in the middle of the night, and the purse snatcher finds her, takes her purse, throws her to the ground. She gets up, dusts herself off, and kind of laughs because she was prepared. She had her money in her pocket. Her purse was empty, It had a single note in it that just said "fuck you." That's my grandmother.
Woman after my heart.
Yeah, so that's why I marked these explicit, because these are not for children. But I think honestly, I think children can honestly, sometimes cursing is the best way to convey the emotion. But we try to limit it. Anyhow,
They do say people who curse do have a higher level of wit
yeah,
and
and
intelligence in some cases.
more honesty, I
Yes.
think.
And hey, being a military wife, my husband, Army,
Yeah, they teach
yes,
you how to
we have
cuss.
certain lingo in the house. So my 10-year-old is quite
Colorful. Yeah.
experienced.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. Just keep on
It's okay,
doing
he
what
can
you're
learn it. He
doing.
needs to learn to navigate it anyways. He needs to learn how to navigate it, and then it's a matter of just setting boundaries around it. As I'm like, okay, don't do that in front of other people. So we're still working on that.
Yeah, that's what I tell my kids too. I mean, Johnny's almost 14 now, and I mean, well, no, almost 15, going into high school.
Yeah,
He's heard all of it
yeah,
before. So no,
yeah.
I know. Well, Carmen, I think this was a complete knockout.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you so much for being on the Swift Kick in the Ass.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I really
And
appreciate that.
I wish you all the best in the future. I hope to catch some of your fights in town. So, you know, we've been in touch. I'm not too worried about that. But
No.
I really let me know how I can help support the work. And all the best.
Well, I guess the biggest thing, anyone can always spread the word and share the mission. You never know whether your neighbor is just so overwhelmed with things. By just mentioning something, you give them a way to find a resource that can help them. They
Yeah.
might not talk about how overwhelmed they are or what's on their mind, but just keep sharing it. Just spread the word,
Yeah.
and it will find the right people.
And now's really the time that we all need each other
Yes.
more than ever. And I'll put the Amazon link for your book. I'm not getting anything out of this. I don't get any cut of the royalties. I just want you to read this book. But we'll put that out there. Try to get this out there.
Appreciate
You ever
that.
need an entourage? I'm ready.
If I need a bodyguard, can you be my bodyguard?
Oh yeah, that'll be
All
fun.
right, there you go.
Have fun. I love it. Love it. Well,
Awesome.
again, this is Carmen the Momba with John Curran. You're on a Swift Kick in the Ass. We're gonna end this time. So peace.
Bye. I'm out.
Bye. Thanks, Carmen. Hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.